It's the rude awakening that men have needed for thousands of years.
I have 4 big things to say about this, but first of all, I'm not quite sure where this belief came from that if more women divorce their husbands, that these men are just going to believe that it was all their fault and they're going to grow and get better. No, there's never just fault on one side, and men know that. Second of all, most men that go through divorce end up losing a lot in the form of lost time with their children and financially through spousal support and child support. So many men just feel victimized by the court system. Thirdly, a lot of these men that get put through the ringer, they eventually build themselves back and they realize that they're a lot happier being single. It's actually a lot more peaceful for them. And fourthly and lastly, a lot of men never want to get married again, or in the first place, because they hear women like this talking about divorce as if it's some sort of punishment for her not being happy, as if his needs and the family's needs have nothing to do with it. And men are smarter than that.
Hating your husband?
No, I don't think I will, for multiple reasons. Well, first of all, normalizing consistent feelings of hatred towards someone is called Stockholm Syndrome. And to be clear, you're not supposed to have that. It's definitely true that probably every person who's been married or in a long-term relationship has had a moment where they're like, oh my God, I could wring this person's neck. The difference is whether they handle that issue privately or publicly. Because when those feelings are dealt with privately, it can be worked through. But if you let that hatred be shown to the general public for even 1 minute, it will change how they view your spouse forever. So before you get too cozy marinating in and justifying holding on to one of the worst, most self-sabotaging feelings you could possibly have toward a person who I'm sure if you heard them say that they hated you, you would be crying in fetal position on the floor, just remember you can't put that toothpaste back in the tube.
Relationships are in for a change. For decades, marriage followed a familiar script. But a surprising trend is slowly emerging. Men are hitting the brakes on getting hitched. Data shows a decline in the number of men waiting to marry, with a recent study by the Pew Research Center finding that 60% of men under 35 haven't tied the knot, compared to just 40% a generation ago. Is it cold feet or something bigger? In this video, we'll get into the reasons why some believe the happily ever after script needs a rewrite. Is it all about men changing their priorities? Are women feeling left behind? Or is there a deeper shift happening in how men view love and commitment? Let's begin by zooming in on the aftermath of divorce for men. Of course, we know it's not pretty at all. Most of these guys end up losing big time, not just emotionally, but financially, and in terms of their relationship with their kids. They're hit with spousal support, child support, and they're left with a fraction of the time they used to spend with their children. It's a gut punch, plain and simple. And who can blame them for feeling victimized by the court system? It's a tough pill to swallow. But here's the thing. Even with the wreckage of divorce, something interesting starts to happen. These men, they start to rebuild. They pick up the pieces of their shattered lives, and they find something unexpected. Peace. Yes, you heard me right. Being single becomes a sanctuary, a refuge from the storm of modern relationships. It's a revelation, really. Realizing that happiness doesn't always come in the form of a ring or a marriage certificate. Sometimes it's found in the quiet moments of solitude, in the freedom to chart your own course. On the long run, this makes a lot of men wary of marriage. And can you blame them? When they hear women talking about divorce like it's some kind of punishment for not being happy, it's like a warning sign flashing in neon lights. They start to question whether they really want to tie the knot with someone who sees marriage as a trap, a ticking time bomb waiting to explode at the first sign of unhappiness. It's a sobering realization, folks, and it's causing a lot of guys to pump the brakes on the whole marriage thing. We genuinely believe this is the root awakening of men in the modern age. It's a journey filled with hard truths and tough lessons, but it's also a path to newfound freedom and self-discovery. Men are realizing that marriage isn't the be-all and end-all of happiness, and they're starting to carve out their own paths in life. And who knows, maybe in the process, they'll stumble upon something even better than happily ever. Now let's switch up and talk about the single life versus the married life. Now imagine you're a single guy, living your best life. You've got a good job or the freedom to pursue your dreams, hit the gym, travel, hang out with friends, and even date women. Sounds pretty sweet, right? Now contrast that with the life of a married man. Married life can be wild. Instead of having time to work on yourself and pursue your passions, you're constantly being told that you're not doing enough. You're living in a state of utter misery, with no time for friends or hobbies because your partner is clinging to you like a security blanket. And let's not even get started on the emotional roller coaster of trying to work through their insecurities and mood swings. It's a tale of two worlds. On one hand, you've got the freedom and independence of the single life, and on the other, you're shackled to the demands and expectations of married life. And the grass isn't always greener on the other side. Are women still interested in marriage? Absolutely, 100%. But what percentage of modern women are actually marriage material? Well, that's where things get a little tricky. Some might say 90%, others might say 25%. So, let's split the difference and say around 75%. But what exactly does it mean to be marriage material? Does financial stability play a role in a woman's decision to settle down and become a trad wife? Well, it's certainly a factor for some. Picture this. You've got a husband who's bringing in a hefty paycheck, providing for the family, and taking care of all the financial responsibilities. Sounds pretty appealing, right? But what if your partner isn't rolling in dough? Would you still be willing to play the role of the traditional wife? It's a question worth considering. For some women, financial stability might be a non-negotiable. They want the security of knowing that their needs, and the needs of their family, are taken care of. But for others, love and companionship might outweigh financial concerns. Ultimately, it all comes down to personal values and priorities. Some women might prioritize financial stability and security, while others might prioritize love and emotional connection. Now let's talk about maturity. While men continue to develop and improve as they age, women often seem to get stuck in a perpetual state of adolescence. They cling to the mindset of their 20s, refusing to grow and evolve as they should. This lack of growth can be off-putting to men who are looking for someone mature and grounded. Older women who were once attractive may now find themselves struggling to attract attention, as men are drawn to younger, more vibrant women. But here's the thing. Women are aware of this. They know that their looks fade with age, so they'll do whatever it takes to maintain their youthful appearance. They'll visit doctors, take medicines, and undergo cosmetic procedures, all in an effort to defy the inevitable march of time. But despite their efforts, the truth remains. Women do not improve with age like men do. And while feminism may have empowered women to pursue their careers and earn more money, it hasn't changed the fact that men value different things in a partner. Sure, a woman's accomplishments may be impressive, but they don't hold the same weight as her youth and beauty. And as she climbs the corporate ladder, she may find herself becoming less appealing to men who prefer a more feminine and nurturing partner. In the end, it's a harsh reality that women must face. No amount of success or money can change the fact that men are drawn to youth and beauty above all else. And until women accept this truth and embrace their age gracefully, they'll continue to struggle in the dating game. As women climb the corporate ladder and achieve success, their dating pool tends to shrink. But why does this happen? Well, the answer is quite straightforward. Men are often drawn to women who embody femininity and nurturing qualities, rather than those who showcase traits associated with success in the business realm. Men prefer women who are more submissive and less competitive, rather than those who display masculine behaviors. This preference arises from a desire for a partner who complements rather than competes with them. Let's be real here. A CEO or a high-ranking executive isn't usually seeking a woman who exhibits characteristics like toughness, harshness, and overly ambitious traits typically found in the business world. It's no secret that women are better at working through interpersonal relationships and office politics than men. And while this may serve them well in the workplace, it can also create challenges in their personal lives. Take, for example, the scenario of a woman who appears to be out with a coworker, but is actually seeking to get closer to her CEO or another powerful man in the organization. This kind of behavior may be driven by a desire to climb the corporate ladder or simply to find a partner who can provide financial security. Men often feel uncomfortable around women who prioritize their careers or display excessive competitiveness. They prefer women who are more feminine and caring, rather than those always striving to prove themselves at work. Men are also reassessing their relationships with women, considering if they're better off without them. This is seen in the rise of men choosing to remain single, avoiding traditional relationships. Meanwhile, women are realizing the risks of relying solely on men. The idea of being a strong, independent woman loses appeal as they face the consequences of prioritizing careers over family. Looking back, many women regret rejecting love and family earlier. They now understand the consequences as they age. Despite societal pressures, women often believe they deserve the best without offering anything in return. Alright guys, we've come to the end of this video, and if you enjoyed it, do well to click on the like and subscribe buttons. Don't forget to check other videos on our playlist. We've got some amazing contents for you. See you in our next video.